Hello, everybody, and welcome to our special presentation of Action Theater Presents Aliens from 1986. I wanted to play it on Tuesday. We would have been right on the day of the release of Aliens, which came out July 14th, 1986. We would have been exactly 40 years to the date. Unfortunately, life gets in the way, and I had to redo my schedule, and we couldn't proceed on Tuesday, so we decided to go at our normal time for Action Theater. This is available to watch on Fandango at home. This is the extended version or special edition version of the Alien 1986 Aliens film, directed by James Cameron, starring Sigourney Weaver, Bill Paxton. Who else? Who else is in this?
Michael Biehn, Lance
Michael
Henriksen,
Biehn, yes.
Paul Reiser,
Paul Reiser,
William Hope, Jeanette Goldstein, Mark Ralston, Rico Ross, Tip Tipping, Trevor Steedman, Carrie Henn, can't forget her.
Yeah.
And a few other people will point out along the way. So, yes, from 1986, one of the best sequels of all time.
Yeah,
And
yes.
a movie that very much stands on its own as a film. I know people who saw this first and didn't know that there was a first movie.
Right, right.
So,
And I believe they have re-released Aliens on HD Blu-ray disc, the 40th year anniversary edition, available now. You can probably order it through Amazon, or I'd go there. I'd check there first, and eBay is always a good secondary source of, if not Amazon. But yeah, there is a 40th edition high definition Blu-ray out there available for you to purchase. This has got a audience score of 94% fresh and a critic score of 93%. So it's really when it comes to sequels, it doesn't get any better than this particular sequel. The totally Cameron came in and totally blew our minds 40 years ago with this film, and it still holds up today. And we hope everything goes correctly in our Cosme room. There's not much I can do on my end, so I'm gonna try to share with you guys from my Cosme. But if you have any issues, there's not much I can do to fix it. So we hope you'll watch your own copy and follow along with us.
If something goes wrong, we would be kind of stuck at the moment, unfortunately. All right, so a few ground rules very quickly before we move on with the film. Again, to remind everybody that due to YouTube's guidelines, we can't put the movie up on screen. To do so, we would either have to turn it into a film strip, we would have to stop it every 8 to 30 seconds and include commentary, which would drag out the length of the film to an extent that it would probably annoy all of us. Or we would have to put a bunch of watermarks on it where you wouldn't be able to see it anyway. So what we are going to do is the link to the screening room should be in all of our chats right now. So you can hit that link. you can join us in Cosme, where we will be watching the Fandango at Home digital edition. Of course, we suggest, of course, physical media, especially
Yes.
if you are not watching us live. We are big proponents of physical media here. As you can
Mm-hmm.
see behind me, is a whole wall over here of DVDs and Blu-rays, and I got all my 4Ks sitting over there. So we are big proponents of 4K discs, not just 4Ks, but I mean physical media in general, VHS, whatever you have. I have the quadrilogy myself, so yeah, that big box set that came out a few years ago. Well, more than a few now, I guess probably.
You're right.
Yeah, it's been a while, I guess. Yeah. What we're going to do once we start the film over on Cosme is we are going to put up the commentary only banner. That way you can sync up with our commentary in the film. Another thing I do want to remind everybody of real quick is Cosme and YouTube have been getting on to content creators about possible bot activity.
Yeah.
And one of the things that could make YouTube and Cosme think that you're a bot is if you're talking about things that are off topic. You know, like if it's like if we were watching Blue Thunder, don't start talking about Alice in Wonderland. You know, so kind of start. You know, we love the chat. You guys are a lot of the reason why we do these kind of shows. We just want to hang out with friends and watch a good movie. At the same time, you know, we got rules we got to follow, and we gotta make sure that everybody, you know, kind of follows certain things along with us. You know, because we don't want to have to throw anybody off the stream. But you know, if somebody gets out of hand, we'll have to. But I'm not expecting any problems because I don't know anybody who does not like this movie. So I'm looking forward to it.
There's a great 4-hour documentary called Aliens Expanded, which I crowdfunded. And if you look up on IMDb, Jedi Bill 797 has a credit through that too, because I crowdfunded the Aliens Expanded, and that's available to purchase. Look up eBay, and there might other ways to purchase that documentary. 4-hour documentary on Aliens Expanded. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Okay. And speaking of the chat, I would like to also very quickly say hello to a few people who have joined us. Channel member JPRPH1, who's thanking me for the reminder on X. Yes, because we did have to switch today on this.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we were really looking forward to doing it on Tuesday, but you know, things happen, and this is actually even better because I had a little prep time between being at work and being here right now. So we're good.
Yeah.
The bird woman of YouTube, Connie Cleary. Watch out for her channel, Fluff Chick Productions. Scrolling down because I do see a couple of new names here. Zain Ali 333. H9F.
Welcome.
Good to see you, sir. Welcome. Hope that you enjoy the film along with us. Our pal Andrea Black is here, who's always here in the chat along with us. And let me see if there's anybody in the Cosme chat who might just be there. I am not seeing the Cosme chat at the moment. Okay, well, hello to everybody in the Cosme chat. Okay.
I see 3 of us right now. JPRPH1, you, myself, and you.
I see Connie there as well.
Oh.
All right. The brief synopsis.
Okay.
Oh, Schnapple.
I'm just gonna reload it. That's all.
Oh, okay.
I'm just
Okay.
reloading it. So go ahead.
Did you do that or did I do that?
No, I did that. I'm gonna reload
Oh,
it and
oh,
it
oh,
cost
jeez, I'm
me.
sorry. Okay, wow.
No.
All right. Damn it. That worries me when I start pushing buttons. Okay. All right. The sequel, of course, you finds at the beginning of the film, we find Ripley in the shuttle, the Narcissus, um, which is, and we she is found by this long range um, salvage operation, is brought to Gateway Station, a space station she is not familiar with, that is hovering over Earth, and finds out that she has awakened 57 years into the future. Because remember, she says at the end of the original Alien that she's going to be back in, I think, what she'll make the frontier in 5 weeks or something like that. Well, it takes a little longer than that. So she is brought in front of a board of Wayland Utani suits. They don't believe what happened, her story of what happened in the first movie. And, well, really, I don't want to give anything else away if for anybody who might be new, because I think JP said that this was his first time seeing this. So for those of you who are new to this film, yeah, I don't want to say anymore. I just, yeah. All right. So, Aliens, written and
All
directed
right.
by James Cameron, starring Sigourney Weaver. So, hit it.
There we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and go. You could rent this on a You can probably rent both of the versions on Prime Video and Fandango at home for about three to $4. So it is available if like I say, if we have any issues with our screening room, there's not I've done all I could do with the fixing the server, and then like I'm sorry if it doesn't work, but hopefully we don't have any hiccups today. A Brandywine production.
Which was at the time Walter Hill's production company, James Cameron film.
We get
And
Sigourney Weaver,
Michael Biehn.
Michael Biehn.
We'll get to the story of how he wound up in this movie, because it's pretty interesting. Paul Reiser, of course, Lance Henriksen, introducing Carrie Henn, who's new.
Lance Henriksen worked with Cameron before on the Terminator film, 1984. Music composed by James Horner. Great film. Alien effects created by the Stan Winston Studios. We open up a shot of deep space. Sigourney's ship.
The shuttle.
Yeah, the shuttle.
She got away in the previous film.
Gail Anherd was married to James Cameron. Later went on to produce Out of this little show on AMC called The Walking Dead.
Mhm.
Yeah. So she went on, even though she divorced Cameron, she went on to bigger and greater things. Here we have Sigourney Ripley in her cryogenic chamber. Being found by the deep salvage team. I always I always love this opening shot with the door being cut open with this robotic arm,
Mhm.
and the laser comes in, and how the smoke hits the laser. That just totally blew my mind when I first saw it. So
And one thing, yeah, go ahead.
now's where they send in the laser, which is like it's a scanner, but it looks like a camera on a tripod. You know.
And one thing that Cameron was very good with, especially at that time, was this this where certain technology might be by this point in time in history.
Yeah.
I can believe that we would have, the lasers like that and the camera, which and that's really a good way for to describe it. Is it's like it's camera. I can. I could at least at the time see this technology being possible, and hopefully someone will perfect some of this for real.
I love how he thought that it's a cryo chamber and thought that there would be lots of condensation on the outside of the cryo tube, along with the pussycat Jones.
Jones. Have you ever seen the book that's the original movie from Jonesy's point of view?
No, I never did.
And the funny thing is, it's written like it's a children's book. But there's all this horrific shit going on. It's just,
I would never even.
Funny.
To be honest with you, I wasn't aware that such a book existed. You, it was the first time knowing that.
Paul Reiser, of course, is Carter Burke, and of course, known at the time pretty much as a comedian. And he'd been in a couple of movies. He'd been in the original Beverly Hills Cop, and he's also in the Barry Levinson film Diner. A little bit of a different character for him. Number one, it kind of like a dramatic role. Number one, and where his character goes is pretty pretty interesting.
I think the same year they did Beverly Hills Cop 2, and he was the comedic sidekick in Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Yeah,
came out either this year or the year later. I can't remember which.
Something like that. Yeah, I think the year after. I think.
Can you imagine being told you've been asleep for 57 years. You've basically been a human popsicle for 57 years, floating out in the vastness of space. I don't know how I'd take to that news.
And here's where it melds into our kind of nightmare sequence here.
And after seeing all what she's witnessed, I don't think anybody would not have this nightmare.
And remember, folks, 1986. There's no CGI. This is
Yeah,
a lot of this is practical effects,
yeah.
and there's some matte shots. Obviously, outside of the window is probably a green screen, but yeah, I have mixed feelings about the third movie. Yeah,
Yeah, I hated the third movie.
um,
A lot of people did.
yeah, but where I was at personally at the time, I was looking for like darker material, darker endings. So it kind of
Yeah.
really didn't bother me at the time. But looking back on it,
This this
there are other directions they could have
this
gone in.
scene, the scene where she was in the atrium or whatever that she's sitting in.
Hmm.
That's an extended
Yes,
deleted scene.
this is the first of the new scenes, and we this is where we learned she left the daughter behind, Amanda, and of course Amanda is a major character in the video games as well. Hello to Enigma Severs. We're about 10 minutes into the
Yep.
extended version of Aliens. Emoji Queen Lady Mist.
I was watching that extended aliens thing, and that was a picture of Sigourney Weaver's mother
Hmm.
as her young as her daughter as an elder. Well, well, good news. You can always come back to revisit this anytime. Like I said, we were discussing how it's available on HD Blu-ray now, 40th edition. It is out there available. Like you can. I'm sure, almost certain, you can rent this on Prime Video and also Fandango at home for less than $5. But we do highly recommend you pick up a Blu-ray or HD copy of this film. Perfect for anybody's library.
Yeah, like I said, I know people who have never seen the first movie, know it exists like this. People don't like fictional horror films who like this. Oh,
I love how bureaucratic these corporate shills are,
Yeah.
oblivious to nothing.
And of course, this is something that this movie plays up is the whole corporate malfeasance. In the original script for the original film, none of that was there. They just, they got the signal and they went to the planet and shit happens. It wasn't the whole they were set up to go down there, you know.
Yeah, I almost prefer watching the extended version versus the theatrical version nowadays because like
Oh yeah,
there's so much more information here.
yeah, there is. And this is basically where the company is just going to kind of blame her for everything that happened,
Yeah.
which just makes things worse for her, you know. So it's just like, no, you're just crazy, you're insane, and you blew up our ship, so you're fired, basically. you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and we're not going to call the cops yet, you know.
$70 families.
Cut two, and of course, this is another cutscene. Hadley's Hope, population 158.
Yeah, all these scenes are for those who've only seen the theatrical version. These are now are deleted scenes put back into the film.
I would also suggest going out and if you can find it, maybe through Amazon, find the novelization for this film, um, uh, written by, if I remember correctly, Alan Dean Foster. And here, of course, we meet the Jordan family, Newt's family, and her brother here was actually her brother.
Yeah. Yep.
Christopher Henn. Yeah, so he got put back into the movie, which is pretty cool. And the actor playing Newt's father is a fellow named Jay Benedict, who went on and did a lot of television. Pretty much every TV show in the '90s, he was probably in it at one point or another. And another thing that'll really bake your noodle is the fact that they filmed a lot of this movie in London.
Yep.
Pinewood Studios, and there are a number of like British actors in this film who are doing American accents.
Yeah. Sadly, a lot of the old sets got
Yeah.
destroyed throughout the time. She grew up to be a school teacher, a good school teacher, not one of those who. Yeah, we won't. We just won't go there.
Yeah. Carrie Henn is on Twitter. Check her out. She's pretty. She's one of us. She wants like good entertainment and talks about this movie quite a bit, and shows up at conventions to this day. Uh, JP asking, is this the ship with the creature? Yes. Oh, cover your ears, folks.
So they found the eggs in a face.
Now, all Carrie Henn said about the scream, that ear-piercing fucking scream that you're going to hear throughout the film, it's like
Yeah.
James Cameron told her, "Scream as loud as you can," and that's it. So she did, you know. And of course, here's Burke returning with Lieutenant Gorman, played by William Hope, who's also in the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes film, among others. Does a lot of independent features. He's still around. He shows up and stuff from time to time. And that's the cool thing about this movie, is that a lot of these actors are still working, still show up in films.
A drowned transmitter. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, you throw me to the wolves, and then you expect me to just go with the honest thing. No. This scene's a little bit longer here. Like, yeah, he just needles her, It's just like, yeah, oh, that's great. Yeah, you got this warehouse job. Great, terrific. Yeah. uh, yeah, if you can. Well, so much for doctor-patient confidentiality.
Yeah.
And of course, it's also a hint that the company probably has their people surveilled. I mean, you're not entirely wrong, Enigma, um, because this is very much that kind of William Gibson-y kind of cyberpunk thing where it's just like these apartments where people are just like stacked on top of one another. It's not even really an apartment. It's like it's like a cubicle, really.
You little shit.
And of course,
Same here.
the last time that we see Jonesy.
I'm the world's oldest cat. You think I want to go out in that mess?
And of course, here's the Sulaco. Just looks like a giant bayonet, really. And we get
Yeah, it was meant to look like that on purpose,
yeah.
from what I gather. You have the armory on the Sulaco.
Mhm.
Just a bunch of rifles, pulse rifles, one round after the other.
And this is another extended scene.
If you notice all of James Cameron's ships, yeah, he did a lot of the designs himself. And they come out in like the Terminator and like the Avatar films. They're all similar in shape and and format.
And the cryotubes containing our
The
squad
Marines,
of
yeah.
colonial marines. There's an interesting continuity error here. Hudson's name does not pop up on that screen. But everybody else's does. So.
And I believe the only one with former military training is our sergeant, who was
Mhm.
an actual army sergeant, not a marine, but actual
Yeah.
army sergeant, who is sadly no longer with us. But he did have some military background coming into this.
So you want a guy to play the sergeant? Get
Yep.
the real deal.
Yeah.
And he was this actor who was living in England at the time, and yeah, and he wound up in a film.
A lot. Few of these guys were former military personnel that are just were stationed in the UK or
Mhm.
living in the UK.
Now, I always wondered um, if there was like something going on with Vasquez and Drake. There actually is, but there is like a backstory to these two characters, um, where they actually were both like street kids and were kind of like in a gang and stuff like that, and wound up getting into some trouble. And it was basically like the Marines are prison, so they have like this whole separate backstory with one another. And
Bishop.
and Lance Henriksen can do this. I've seen him do this in like other films. Obviously, not as fast as they make
Bishop.
it look. Bishop.
It's not funny, man. It's not funny. It wasn't funny, man. It
I soiled me armor.
wasn't funny. Our timestamp is 31:59. If anybody following along their own copy, 32:06. I want to say that to our friends Andrea back and Lady Miss. Glad to have you with us. I hope the costume room is running smoothly for you. she's not too keen because what happened with the last
Yeah.
synthetic human.
Reese fought aliens, Terminators, whatever not calling it. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's been busy. And he
yeah.
even wound up in a Predator film. It was the animated one, but he's in it, you know.
E6. A bug hunt.
He did fight the Mandalorian, yeah, he did. He's in is he in season 2, I think? I don't remember. I stopped watching after a while, but I remember that episode, yeah.
This actress, she's done a lot of things with Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
She ended up in T2
Mm-hmm.
and Titanic as well.
Yeah, she's in Lethal Weapon 2 as well.
Yeah.
Was one of the cops. Have we done any of the Lethal Weapon movies, Bill?
What we did? I think we've done one. We've done one twice already. We did the regular cut, theatrical cut, and the director's.
Hmm.
I don't think we did one or two. I know there's four of them, and there's the talk of a fifth one going to be directed by Mel Gibson coming up.
Yeah, they're going to have to do it fast, though.
Yeah, I know.
Why do you always have to be a troublemaker, Hudson? I just baked the cookies, sir. Spunkmeyer? Never mind. I think this guy wound up on the guy who plays Spunkmeyer. I think he wound up on. I think he was on Sons of Anarchy for a while.
Be my guest. Practically chewing on that cigar.
Yeah.
I never noticed that her footwear was Reeboks.
Yeah.
Someone later out pointed that out to me that her foot attire is a Reebok.
Yep.
think right around this time, Reeboks were just coming into their own as a well-known shoe.
When in the Steve Martin Father of the Bride, there's actually a joke about that where they meet the boyfriend for the first time and he's wearing Reeboks and not the and not the shoes that Steve Martin designed.
Yeah.
The sidekicks, yeah. He's wearing Reeboks. Get him out of here.
These weapons were developed for this film.
Mhm.
Like Cameron and his designers, and they practiced with those guns that were that they basically had to wear this belt for to wear, but the actors they got their own little military training for those who needed it.
Now, I think this is a good time to go into it. Is that Michael Biehn was not originally cast as Hicks. It was James Remar.
Yeah.
And he went through all of the training. These guys, and one of the things that they did in training was like to design all of their own armor and all that, and all right. And
Yeah. Yep.
So what
They
happened?
they would write their own stuff on their armor and their plating and their helmets. That was real. They wrote that something personal.
Yeah, and well, what happened was James Remar got into a little bit of trouble in England, and
Yeah.
basically got deported. He got kicked out of England.
Basically, the crew they had to step in and save poor Remar and ship him back to the States where he didn't do any jail time in England there.
And so basically, Michael Biehn got cast at like literally the last minute, and like all of everything that's like written on his armor and everything is all James Remar stuff. And there's actually a scene in the film, and I'll point it out when we get to it, where it's not Michael Biehn, it's still James Remar. And we'll show that when we'll let you know when to get to that scene. It's very brief, but it's there.
And of course, Cameron, like in the military, he wanted to keep military where they would paint the different things on the ships, like the bug hunter and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Going down.
Now, this was a movie that was very much, a Vietnam allegory at its heart. Whereas all of this technology, and they basically get taken out by a bunch of fucking bugs, and so that was there. It's about as political as the movie gets. Thank goodness.
Yeah. I guess all this still happened during the Cold War.
Yeah.
And then of course Chernobyl happened this year this year 86.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the reasons, kind of going into the third movie for a minute, when I mentioned William Gibson before,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a science fiction author, and he wrote the original script for Alien 3. That was a very different film than the one that we got, and it was like this Cold War allegory, where there was this kind of analog for the communist bloc, who are also trying to get a hold of the xenomorphs. And they actually kind of capture some, and then their station gets overrun as well. Um, and then the Cold War effectively came to an end at that point, and then that story ended up getting tossed, which is unfortunate because that actually would have made a pretty decent movie.
Bill Paxton really was this goofy when he filmed all this. So
Oh
a
yeah,
lot of this is so much Bill Paxton in this, whether
yeah.
it being
I think he improv this entire scene, if I remember correct.
yeah. Again, that was a cut. That was a scene that was
Yeah,
late.
that
Went to the
was
cutting room floor.
sadly, yeah. I remember that scene, and then my dad saw it the first time and says, "How many fucking rockets do you need exactly?" Yeah, of course you do.
Nothing like a $190 million atmosphere processor.
Operation Hide Behind the Mexican is now commencing.
So they've entered the compound, and it looks like there's been a firefight or some type of showdown.
Yeah, it's a found footage movie. Of course, the idea of these cameras does make sense and makes things pretty creepy later on. Some of the stuff that happens.
Oh yeah, their cameras on their tactical helmets.
Yeah, it's body cams basically.
Yeah, I love the use of the tracking device for the
Yeah.
motion. Just a blip on a little screen.
What was motivating the rain? I never really understood that. Where's that coming from? You know?
I don't know, just that I they're I guess that it puts off a lot of heat and a lot of water gets evaporated, that produces rain.
This is
Hamsters,
another.
hamsters and guinea pigs.
Yeah, that was another extra
Cutscene.
bit there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it makes sense that there would be like some kind of little false alarm
Yeah.
that.
There we go.
Mhm. Because the thing that's interesting is that everybody kind of blows her off, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
The suits, the Marines. Hicks is like the one guy who's like he buys it, you know. It's like okay, you know. Uh, this was the intel I got, you know. It's like Back when you could kind of take your time, these sorts of movies.
Uh,
And of course,
she
these are
finds
the
6 face huggers.
mhm, nice little bit there.
Hello to Santiago Chavez. Welcome.
We get a timestamp for the folks there, Bill.
Yeah, 56:47.
Watching the special edition of Aliens. Now, of course, in this version, we have had scenes with Newt, but in the theatrical edit, this is the first time we actually see her.
Newt's moving around in the area.
Mhm.
What moved was Newt.
Yeah.
It was no xenomorph. All you see is a head of hair with bright blue eyes and a little girl holding a doll's head. Our introduction to Newt,
Mhm.
aka Rebecca.
Yep.
Nobody calls her Rebecca.
Except their brother.
Yeah. You've just been living in the crawl spaces.
Mhm.
She knows how not to get caught by those critters that stand like 7 feet tall. Hey, look, power windows.
Once upon a time, there were the heavens and the earth. Oh, wait. No, in the beginning. Sorry. Not that far back. Okay.
Hot chocolate. Wait, they still have hot chocolate in the future? I'm so grateful they have hot chocolate. Now, 1 hour, 1 minute, 22 seconds. So Newt refused to drink the hot chocolate, and Ripley's kind of cleaning her face, covered in filth. PDTs. Man, they must be getting paid really well to get surgically transmit things, devices put in your skin. Some would say that's what they did with the jab back in the 2020,
Maybe.
2021. But that's another argument. I like to buy an argument.
Timmy. Lords of the Underworld.
That ain't an argument. That's just contradiction.
Hey, look, lady, I was surviving down here just fine until you assholes showed up.
Bishop is dissecting the face hugger. And he totally plays the part of a synthetic human. Drop your grenade, drop your linen. Found him. He played this role like he was the Duke. That's one of the things he favored himself to be the Duke, and he it did a pretty job portraying like he is the Duke. Check those corners.
Stay on target.
You tell me, man. I only work here, man. Aliens have made a xenomorph, basically a hive, their own hive.
Bugs up, tighten it up, make up your mind. Um, Now there was a nice little bit. It's in the novelization, but it's unfortunately not in the film. Even in this version, was there was a scene which was obviously in the previous sequence where Ripley, Frost, and Wierzbowski got separated from the main group, and Wierzbowski tells kind of like this off-color joke, and Ripley hears it, and he like has that moment where he's like, "Oh shit, am I going to get hit?" She laughing, and she laughs at it, and you're like, "Oh, good, we're okay. She's one of us," you know. Um, and Rusbowski was played by a British actor named Trevor Steedman, and a lot of his stuff that was written got cut out of the film ultimately, and Sigourney Weaver tried to get him into Alien 3, tried to find a part for him in that, and unfortunately didn't happen. Shrek, I'm looking down.
Oh, we found somebody.
Here we go.
Oh, Miss Daisy, we got a live one. Please, kill me. Please, kill me. I don't want this thing anymore. So, face, chest buster is definitely coming out of her chest. And the walls are making growling sounds. I think we've awoken cucarachas. We have we've awoken the cucarachas. These are 7-foot cockroaches, also known as xenomorphs.
And wherein in the original film it was just the one creature. Now you have a whole army of them. And from this point on, really, the movie kind of becomes a straight up war film.
Yeah. How about with your own eyes? Uh oh.
Yep. Spouse and Crow are down.
They're cut off. Uh, one guy that got chain of command has lost it.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Ripley is going to have to step in.
They got overconfident.
Ripley's taking action. Something you're not doing.
thank you, Mark.
That's not the right Batmobile. Cameron wanted him to shoot right at the camera, and this guy actor was afraid of the camera. They wouldn't want to hurt the filming, but like, so it worked out to be that he actually did fire right at Cameron,
Hmm.
and they left it in the scene. But the actor was adamant, like I don't want to hurt you guys, but yet cameras and no, she'll want you to shoot right at us.
Crunch.
Yeah.
That's what she said. Oh. It spunk my rolling.
Wait a minute, there's something.
Let's get up here.
That's just great. What the hell are we supposed to do now? What the fuck are we supposed to do now? Where's really pretty shit now, man? Game over, man. Game over. This movie has so many quotable lines. I swear to I think I've been quoting this film for the last 40 years. How about you, Deleted?
Same.
Game over, man. Game over. Maybe we can build a fire. Sing a couple songs. Why don't we try that?
They mostly come out at night. Mostly.
Dangerous. "17 days." Afraid for 17 hours. Well, why don't you put her in charge? Okay, I'm on it. Our current timestamp is 1 hour, 28 minutes, 48 seconds. That was also left on the cutting room floor, that scene that they just showed. Of course, they had to test it because these sentry units are motion detected. It's an Apple Watch. Oh, just a precaution. A Fitbit, says JPRPH1. Yeah, guess you wanted to check your blood pressure, how many steps you're doing. Yeah, she's just a piece of plastic, Ripley. Yes, and they're called Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, and this. No, I'm just kidding about that. Ah! Please get it off the screen! Why? Why? JPRH1! Why you torture me that way? It's hideous! That is a hideous monster on screen. In the screen. JPRPH1, I need the eye bleach over here, stat. But that is one hideous monster, JPR. Made one. Who's laying these eggs? Nah, he just sees dollar signs. Bad call. These people are dead, Burke. Right to the wall. Oh, he's getting nailed to a wall. It's not the wall you're thinking of. The sentry usually pushing off the rounds, counting down. Another deleted scene and ended up on the cutting floor.
Hmm?
So the sentry units are having their hands full with the aliens trying to get into the complex where they're at. Oh, they're empty. No more rounds. Scary noises. 40 megatons. Yeah. 40 Hiroshima bombs. Four more reaching out, man. Good idea. Hands him pistol. I don't need no pistol. I'm a pathetic. I don't need that. I have good news. They reused the pipe in the Escape from Shawshank Redemption. That's where the pipe reprised its role.
Sentry guns.
They're looking for another way in. Vámonos.
Not relevant.
I want to introduce you to my little friend here.
Mm-hmm.
We're at 1 hour, 45 minutes, 47 seconds. The 1986 classic sequel, Aliens. Oh, we missed Daniel Berry Sports Highlight dropped in and said hello. Saying, what's up? Happy Thursday, everybody.
That's not supposed to be happening. Bishop's made it to their antenna array, basically, and is going to now remote pilot the shuttle back onto the planet so the survivors can. But first, a musical number. No. Whoopsie. Saboteur. And they're heavy sleepers. You dirty rat. Okay. Plexiglass. We put that in so Mr. Musburger there doesn't fall down and squish itself. Wrong movie. Some of it's right now. What do you mean, pal?
You got me, pal.
Here we go. Welcome, Chris W. If it hasn't been buffering for me like at all, which is good. If it is for you, try refreshing. That usually clears it up. And welcome back, Jamie Lynn.
They're in here. Maybe right, man. If there is any issues in Cosme, I will have to temporary pause it and reload.
Yeah, because
I can do that. So let me know.
it's worked. So far, it's worked perfectly fine here for me. So
Okay, that's good. One of the best board games you ever played was Aliens. The color stay in the corpse. That's cool, Chris.
hmm.
They did make a board game of this. I've seen it, and I've seen the little miniatures. They're in the room, man. What the hell, man?
Whoopsie.
The cockroaches are in the room. The most terrifying look you'll ever see on screen.
Okay, it's working for Chris again. Good.
Yeah, sorry for you, Jennifer Lawrence. Before you, there was action star Sigourney Weaver as Lieutenant Ellen Ripley, who was a badass in 1986.
Yeah. Hudson's Last Stand.
Hudson gets mad. Paxton just runs away with it. It's like, oh, you want some too? Oh, you want some of this? Oh, God bless Hudson. Hudson was a warrior at the end. He wasn't a whiny little bitch. He went out a warrior. And of course, Burke has locked him. Gorman, damn you, Burke. Oh, but he gets his right here. Yeah, you're gonna be an alien bitch. And in a way, this is a callback to the original film where they're walking around the corridors, about the same size. Straight ahead and left. A 16 minutes. No, wait, this way. Vasquez relies to her sidearm, her AC 45, 45 ACP. And she's out of ammo.
And minus a foot.
Okay, Gorman had his sidearm, still had ammo. But against a 7-foot xenomorph, not going to do much damage. Plus, they do have a acid for blood. Gorman, you're really an asshole. It's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 ending with to Gorman and Vasquez.
Yeah.
Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime gal. The xenomorphs are still coming. By the way,
Yes.
they're still hot on their tail. 2.4 meters, 1.9 meters. They're in the room. One of the best scenes ever, right here. They have some great stills of that alien just popping up, taking new hostage to be.
Casey!
Deleted. It's not. It's just a piece of plastic. Deleted. Don't fret. Our timestamp is 2 hours, 4 minutes, 36 seconds. We are in our final act. Uh, Once again, he's been carried around by a lady. This time, Ellen Ripley, not Sarah Connor.
They had excuses both times.
Yeah. Plenty, 26 minutes. We're not leaving.
Huh?
Their ultimate plan was they wanted to nuke the site from orbit, but they don't have to do that because they've already ruptured the atmosphere processor. This is going to blow up, and it's going to be like a megaton nuclear explosion. Duct tape, the purpose for everything. Can always fix anything with duct tape. Ripley is preparing for war. God bless Sigourney Weaver. She's now in her mid 70s, and in this role, she still kicks major ass. Sorry, Jennifer Lawrence or Hudson, whatever your name is. You weren't the first action star. Sigourney Weaver was. And you could take that to the bank. In aspect, the answer to that question, I can answer that one. The original Alien was terrifying. Uh, this one, not so much. I mean, we knew what to expect. And it, alien creature, the xenomorph, is a very scary creature. But I'm gonna go with Alien was the out of all the films in the franchise, Alien was the most scariest.
Yeah.
Because in the film Alien, it was just would pop out at you, and the way the camera movement that Ridley Scott did in that film. And out of the entire Alien franchise, this one by far is the best Aliens. My most favorite out of the entire franchise is this one. I'm happy you're enjoying it. Out of a monster creature design, xenomorphs are one of my favorite movie monsters. I'd have to say number two next to the creature monster designs in John Carpenter's The Thing. And out of all the xenomorphs, in here what we call the xenomorphs are called xenomorph warrior. Now there's warriors and there's drones, and my favorite one is the warriors. The drones not so much, but my favorite design is the warrior. The look of the warrior alien, the xenomorph warriors. All originally designed by HR or originated from HR Geiger's design,
Mm-hmm.
which some would say is too highly erotic. But you know, live that judgment up to yourself. You've never seen John Carpenter's A Thing either? Oh man. Well, this October's coming. October's coming around. That moment that what's his name's head is it crawls away from his body and sprouts crab legs.
Yeah.
That's pure terror. Okay, that's pure terror incognite on screen. If you know what I'm talking about, deleted. I love the way the eggs open up, and a face hugger's ready crawling out of the egg. I love that um, Cameron went with the industrial look of the atmosphere processor versus the rest of the colony because it just looks so what's the word what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it. Help me out.
Sure.
Industrial.
Yeah. And of
Here,
course,
yeah,
this is the introduction of
the
the
queen.
alien queen.
There's a huge egg sac attached to the queen. It's this long tubular thing, and she's just laying egg after egg after egg, as like in insect colonies are. They continuously lay eggs. There is a xenomorph problem because there's a problem with the queen that's just laying all these eggs. And the queen is one nasty, scary
Yeah,
critter.
this was a full size puppet.
Yeah, it took like six operators to operate. It stood very tall. Like it stood like 12 feet tall. It was huge. I love the sounds that they came up with for the sounds of what this alien queen would sound like. Of course, she just glares at the warriors, and the warriors back off. Absolutely, Chris. The queen is definitely grotesque and awesome. Grotesque, hideous, repulsive, and awesome all at the same time. Stan Winston, Stan Winston Studios really did a great job. So all the aliens are warriors are now coming out the wall defending the hive. They're defending the queen and the rest of the offspring. And Ripley's just tearing away, being a badass. Yeah, throw that belt with all those grenades on it. So now the queen is breaking free of the egg sac, and she stands like 12 feet tall. She's just huge. And the queen is hot on the tail of Ripley and Newt. Newt screeches
Yeah.
louder than the queen.
Well, I warned
Yeah.
you it was loud.
And of course, we have like a master computer just telling us you have a maximum time 4 minutes to reach safe distance before your nuclear waste. Damn service elevators never work when you want them to. That's the thing. Stan Winston Studios and his genius people of creature design, they have become an industry standard. I mean, they went from making the Terminators to aliens and xenomorphs and all the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park films. That's what such a huge industry standard Stan Winston Studios and creators became, even after the passing of the late great Stan Winston. And it wasn't really his fault. He did what he had to do.
Yeah.
And we'll find out why he had to leave. The queen is on her way up. Welcome to LV426, where all hell has breaking loose. Oh, yeah. Some people say that in a quick shot there you could see the queen stolen away. I never did see that, but I guess there's a moment where you could pause where you could see where she stole away.
Oh, and one thing that I forgot to bring up was, like I said, there is one camera shot in the film where you see James Remar as Hicks, and I forgot to bring up when that was, and that was when they look for the colonists, and they're all standing there and they're all looking around at the hive. That's the scene that has James Remar in it. That's the one camera shot in the whole movie where it's still him as Hicks. And the rest is like me.
So here we have our survivors:
Mm-hmm.
Hicks, Corporal Hicks, and Newt, Rebecca, aka Rebecca.
Yeah. And then there were four.
And here we get the reveal of the
Whoops.
stowaway. The stowaway, the queen. The queen hitched a ride. That smart bitch hitched a ride. The queen just rips Bishop in half. You didn't think getting away from me would be so easy, did you now? It really turned the queen into being a formative adversary. And now Ripley's just gotta outwit the thing.
No, it's mother against mother at this point.
Yeah. So the queen realizing it can't get to Ripley right now, so it's gonna go after Newt. Each one of those queen's arm was like 6 feet in length and operated by 4 people. I love this line here. Get away from her, you bitch. Who does not love that line? I mean, if you haven't been quoting that line for the last 40 years, I don't know where you've been. You must have been living under a rock. Easily one of the most quotable lines in history. The tail of the queen is like a battle axe with a sharp sword. Oh no, I think they said the queen stood like 19 feet tall.
Whoops.
I love how they made the sounds sound like it was part of the soundtrack. You hear no music, but it sounded like it's part of the soundtrack.
Hmm.
Ripley's getting ready to blow it out of the airlock. Say goodbye to the Reebok. Bye bye, Reebok. Oh, once again, Lieutenant Ellen Ripley has outsmarted the Xenomorph and the Xenomorph Queen. Now, I heard the word mommy. Now, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if she, in that moment, she felt like Ellen was her mom, but
Yeah.
maybe it was Ripley. I don't know.
Yeah, she says mom. And how did they lift him into the thing exactly?
They did a little bit better at covering up the with the underwear undergarments versus the '70s, where they weren't so good at covering up in the undergarments in the '70s.
Oh.
I'm just saying, in the '70s there was a lot less, and in the '80s it got a little bit more. Hey, I like that rock dude from Project Hail Mary. That little rock dude was cool. All right, and that is the 40th anniversary screening of Aliens 1986. And our YouTube running deleted scenes will read from the scrolls.
All right. Aliens was released July 18th, 1986. Estimated budget of $18 million, going on to gross 131 million around the world. Was nominated for 7 Academy Awards. Sigourney Weaver for Best Actress, Art Direction, Film Editing, Sound, Musical Score, going on to win for Visual Effects and Sound Effects Editing. Was nominated for 11 Saturn Awards. Nominees: Best Actor Michael Biehn, Best Makeup, Best Costumes. Going on to win Best Science Fiction Film. Supporting Actor for Bill Paxton, R.I.P. B. Pax. Actress for Sigourney Weaver. Screenplay. Director. Best Performance by a Young Actor for Carrie Henn. Supporting Actress for Jeanette Goldstein. And Visual Effects. Was nominated for 4 BAFTA Awards. Winning for Visual Effects. Nominated for Production Design, Sound, and Makeup. Won the Hugo for Best Dramatic Presentation. Was nominated for 2 Jupiter Awards, Best International Film and Best Actress for Sigourney Weaver. Winning the Reader's Choice Award for Best Foreign Language Film at the Kinema Junper Awards. Won the Golden Reel Award for Sound Editing. Most Picture Sound Editors. Carrie Henn was nominated for a Young Artist Award for a supporting role in a feature film, comedy, fantasy, or drama. Nominated for an Artios Award from the Casting Society. Sigourney Weaver was nominated for a Golden Globe, Best Actress in Drama. Nominated Best Foreign Language Film at the Japanese Academy Awards. Nominated, won the ASCAP Award, the ASCAP Film and Television Music Awards. Nominated for the Golden Schmoes for Best DVD and Blu-ray of the Year as part of the Alien Quadrilogy in 2003, which we brought up earlier in the show. All right, let's move on from that. Filming locations included the East Stage, Pinewood Studios, Iverheath, Buckinghamshire, England, for the medical lab, annex and operating room, loading platform, back projection of Jordan's tractor, operations room, corridor, main complex, landscape of atmospheric processing station, service tunnel and elevator, control operations, control block corridors, and medical wing, operation manager's office and medical wing, lower levels of main complex, colony operations room, freight elevator, and a main concourse.
Glad you like it, JPRPH1.
Good. The long process stage, Pinewood Studios, Iverheath, Buckinghamshire. Control operations, originally called the North Tunnel, now demolished.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah. D Stage, Pinewood Studios, Cargo Locket Sulaco, Cargo Locket Dropship 2, Interior Dropship 2 in the Dark Chamber. L Stage, Pinewood Studios, Ripley's Apartment, Hospital Room, Newton Ripley Fall Down the Chute, Freight Elevator, Interior to Narcissus, Newt's Nest, Egg Chamber, Cockpit of Dropships 1 and 2, and Bishop in the Conduit Shaft. Oh, I don't want to share. Get off. All right. F Stage, Pinewood, Operating Room in the Medical Lab, Ceiling of the Operations Room. The M Stage, visual effects for the landing platform, the Egg Chamber, Cargo Lock Operations Room, Air Ducts, and Service Elevator. The Acton Lane Power Station, Acton Lane, Acton, London, England. Exterior of the Atmosphere Processing Station. Interior of the alien structure, Cocoon Chamber, now demolished. And of course, the Albert R. Broccoli 007 stage at Pinewood for the Sulaco Cargo Bay. The phone's not wanting to cooperate with me here. Give me a moment. Bless you. All right, on to the trivia, hopefully. All right, we're not going to get through all these tonight.
No.
Okay. The title of Alien in Hungarian was The Eighth Passenger Death. Consequently, the title of this film was the name of the planet Death. In an interview, composer James Horner felt that James Cameron had given him so little time to write the musical score for the film, he was forced to cannibalize previous scores he had done, such as elements from his Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan, Star Trek III The Search for Spock scores, as well as an adapted rendition of the Guyane ballet suite for the main and end titles. Horner stated that the tensions with Cameron were so high during post-production that he assumed they would never work together again. However, Cameron loved the score from Braveheart so much, the two mutually agreed that Horner would write the score for Titanic because it was a story they both wanted to do. They proceeded to each win Oscars for Titanic and collaborated again 12 years later for Avatar, their final work together before Horner's death in 2015. The initial cinematographer, Dick Bush, however, let me try that again. The initial cinematographer was Dick Bush. Don't laugh. It's the guy's actual name. However, director James Cameron fired him a month into the production because he wasn't satisfied with Bush's lighting, and the two men reportedly hated working with each other. Cameron then tried to hire Derek Van Lint, the director of photography of the original film. Van Lint was interested, but recommended Adrian Biddle for the job, who had been the first AC on Alien, but had never shot a features DP before. Biddle would later work with Scott on Thelma and Louise in 1492, Conquest of Paradise.
Al just in to say hello and say, hello, my friends. About to post my review of The Odyssey. Okay, we will go check that out. see if we can get a link in there for that. Thank you, Big Al.
All right. James Cameron had initially centered his story and screenplay around the character of Ellen Ripley from Alien. He was dismayed to learn that not only had Sigourney Weaver never signed on for a sequel, she had not been contacted yet to reprise her role. When Cameron finally contacted her himself and gave her the script, Weaver showed interest, but the studio objected against her increased salary demands as she had become a bankable star in the meanwhile. The difficulties surrounding her contract negotiations were such that Cameron and Gillian Hurd, recently married, announced that if the deal was not done by the time they got back from their honeymoon, they were out. When they returned, no progress had been made, and shooting was due to start in several months. So Cameron, who had no intention to make the film without Weaver, was also wary of the deadline scenario he had created and devised a scheme. He telephoned Arnold Schwarzenegger's agent for an informal chat and informed him that thanks to his newfound standing in Hollywood following The Terminator, he was planning on making this film entirely on his own by writing Ripley out. As Cameron anticipated, Schwarzenegger's agent immediately relayed the information to his colleague representing Weaver at ICM, who in turn contacted 20th Century Fox head of production Lawrence Gordon. Both men determined that under no circumstances whatsoever would Ripley be written out. Wasted no time in sealing Weaver's deal. Cameron later expressed his relief that the bluff worked out because if it hadn't, the film would most likely have been canceled altogether. Having hired James Cameron to write the screenplay, Gordon did the unthinkable, and Cameron left the production to direct Terminator. Fox agreed to wait for Cameron to become available again and finish the screenplay, with an option to direct if the Terminator turned out well. He showed talent as a director. Due to other engagements, Cameron had only completed 90 pages at that stage, but Gordon loved what he had written so far, saying that, quote, in this business, there are those decisions you agonize and lose sleep over, but this was so obvious it was a no-brainer. Everything about him spelled right guy. The Alien Nest set was kept intact after filming. It was later used as the Axis chemical set for Batman. When the Batman crew first entered this set, they found most of the alien nest still intact. Cameron had several designers come up with the ideas for the drop ship that took the Marines from the Sulaco to the planet. Design after design, he finally gave up on them to come up with one that he liked and constructed his own dropship out of a model of an Apache helicopter and other spare model pieces. The resulting design has the hallmarks of a military helicopter used to deploy troops to maintain the parallels with the Vietnam War. Like most films, the movie wasn't shot in sequence, but for added realism, Cameron filmed the scene where we first meet the Colonial Marines, one of the early scenes last. This is so that the camaraderie of the Marines was realistic because the actors had spent months filming together. There was talk of bringing Swiss artist H.R. Giger, the designer of the original alien creature, back for the second movie to do more design work. But Cameron had decided against it, as Giger was still working on Poltergeist 2: The Other Side, and Cameron had already hired Ron Cobb and Sid Mead for the futuristic buildings and crafts. Furthermore, there was only one major creature design to be done, that of the Alien Queen, of which Cameron had already made some drawings. Cameron later admitted he had considered asking Giger, but feared the eccentric artist would be overwhelming and difficult to work with. When Cameron later heard that Giger had expressed some irritation about not being asked back, he wrote him a letter of apology. Despite his disappointment about not being invited to return, Giger still called the film's designs and executions beautifully done. Hold on, just off my screen, damn it.
No.
All right, I'm.
Just
Hold on.
no worries. All right. Looks like Big Al's review of the Odyssey is now rendered and is available to view right there. We'd ask, as friends of Big Al's channel, that you guys all go check that out or mark it on your notes and check it out later. All right. Big Al's 10-word review on the Odyssey. Available now. We got more
Right. Yeah, I've got
scrolls
more.
coming. More scrolls coming.
Yeah. Despite his disappointment at not being asked to return, Giger still liked the film's designs and execution. Beautifully done, and was complimentary of the Alien Queen's look, commenting, "I liked the fight at the end very much. The Alien Queen is very complicated, like the way I would have done. I like how she moves, and the scenes with Ripley are very good." When filming the scene with Newt the Duck, Carrie Henn kept deliberately blowing her scenes so she could slide down the vent, which she later called a slide 3 stories tall. James Cameron finally dissuaded her by saying that if she completed the shot, she could play on it as much as she wanted. She did, and he kept his promise. A set design company offered to build James Cameron a complete and working APC vehicle from scratch, but the cost was far too high for the budget he had in mind. Well, while salary negotiations are going on with Sigourney Weaver to reprise her character in the second movie, the studio asked Cameron to work on an alternative storyline, excluding Ripley, but Cameron indicated the series is all about Ripley and refused to do so. Director trademark. Feet. What is it with these guys and feet? Okay. When Ripley drives the APC, she crushes an alien's head under one of their wheels. Pulse rifles that the Marines use are made from a Thompson M1A machine gun and a Remington 1870 shotgun, shortened to just 15 inches and covered by the also cut down shroud and foregrip of a Franchi Spas 12 shotgun underneath. The M56 smart guns and sentry guns built for the movie were designed around German MG42 machine guns. Most recognizable on the smart guns are the MG42's characteristic recoil booster muzzle is clearly visible. The gun is mounted on a heavily modified Steadicam harness. The MG42 alone, without the additional cosmetic dressing and ammunition, weighs in at about 25 pounds. The helmets the Marines wear are modified M1 ballistic helmets. There are 2 versions of the Bug Stompers logo designed for the movie, one wearing sneakers, one wearing combat boots as seen on the dropship. The armor for the film was built by English armorer Terry English, apt, and painted using Humbrol paints. The camo pattern worn by the Marines was custom made for the movie, but due to its similarity is often confused for one called Frog and Leaf, which is no longer in production. None of the models or the original designs of the Narcissus and Nostromo shuttle from Alien could be found, so set designers and model makers had to reconstruct the model of the ship in the interior from watching Alien. Al Matthews, who plays Marine Sergeant Apone in the film, was in real life the first Black Marine to be promoted to the rank of sergeant in the field during service in Vietnam. Also, Lance Henriksen is a U.S. Navy veteran. 3 different types of smoke were used in the film, one of which has since become illegal to be used on movie sets. One of the alien eggs used in the film is now exhibited in the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. Sigourney Weaver threatened not to do any more Alien movies after seeing the movie's final cut, so as a compromise, the 1987 special edition was released on Laserdisc. At around 14 minutes, when Burke and Ripley are discussing her psych eval results, a People's Magazine can be seen on the table. It was voted the 42nd greatest film of all time by Entertainment Weekly. They described it as the greatest pure action movie ever.
Wow.
Okay. Producers David Giler and Walter Hill were keen to work with James Cameron after liking his script for Terminator, which was temporarily stalled in pre-production. Cameron pitched several ideas, none of which they were that receptive to. One was a sci-fi update of a Sword and Sandals movie, but they only wanted to do a proper historical action movie on an alien planet. As Cameron was leaving, however, they did mention plans of doing a sequel to Alien. Immediately, Cameron's interest was piqued, since Alien was one of his favorite recent movies. Based on the premise by Giler and Hill that Ripley would team up with soldiers and return to the planet, Cameron added many elements from a story he had written called Mother, about a genetically engineered creature that is trying to protect its offspring. Terraforming an all-powerful company and the term xenomorph were also part of the story. Giler and Hill loved the 40 to 50 page story treatment for Alien 2 that he handed in less than a week later, and commissioned him to write a full screenplay. Cameron was a bit hesitant at first because he had also landed screenwriting duties for Rambo First Blood Part 2 earlier that day. But Giler and Hill told him, "Don't be stupid, take both jobs." Cameron then worked on 3 scripts simultaneously, as he was also writing additional drafts of his Terminator screenplay, each on a different desk to set the projects apart in his mind. Okay. This one is a bit lengthy, folks.
Okay.
All right. Give me a moment here. All right. All right. According to director Cameron and producer Gillian Hurd, most British crew members, with the exception of some of the art department people and production designer Peter Lamont, approached the job as, quote, factory work, with little love for the art of filmmaking, calling them time card punchers, who got aggravated with the 12 to 14-hour days. They also mentioned frequent disagreements with Derek Cracknell, the film's assistant director, well respected among the crew as he had been the AD for Stanley Kubrick and on several James Bond films, who continuously questioned Cameron's decisions, reversed his orders, and was openly antagonistic towards him. He and the crew would frequently called Cameron Governor, Grizzly Adams due to his beard, or the Yank, despite the fact that Cameron is Canadian, and were overtly sexist to Hurd. However, some insiders claim that most of these classes were due to Cameron and Hurd's inexperience both as filmmakers and with English culture. Term Grizzly Adams and the sexist innuendos could have been meant as light-hearted jokes, as Cameron and Hurd took exception to. And the term governor or gov, short for governor, means boss and is a sign of respect in British and English, useless. Ironically, also Cracknell's job as AD was to assist the director and offer logical advice and options when filming. He felt infinitely more experienced than Cameron at that point, who had only done the Terminator and was essentially a low budget, which was essentially a low budget indie film made for a small studio. Additionally, the crew claimed that their working hours were not honored. Pinewood Studios provided its own crew at the time, and British crews have standard union contracts, which entitle them to breaks during the day and finishing at a set time unless overtime had been agreed on in advance. But Cameron did not respect these rights. Ultimately, on set feuds between Cameron Hurd Cracknell and director of photography Dick Bush caused the production to fall behind schedule, prompting Hurd to fire Cracknell and Bush. This briefly instigated an unexpected mass strike from the rest of the crew, and with other crew quickly available, there was serious doubt as to whether the film would make it to completion. Cameron briefly considered moving the production out of England, but this would have meant the end of his career, as 20th Century Fox had already spent millions on the studio space and sets. Fortunately, the mutiny was quickly resolved when Sigourney Weaver, who had an English mother and was well respected by both groups, negotiated a truce. A meeting was set up where Cameron apologized for being so harsh, but also convinced the crew of the importance of his work and promised to respect their rights to breaks and set working hours. This cleared the air and allowed the crew to work together enough at least to finish the movie, you fucking limeys. I'm sorry, did I say that?
Did you? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I said some stuff, but anyway. Like Jerry Goldsmith before him on Alien, composer James Horner wasn't particularly happy with the treatment of his score for the film, despite receiving his first Oscar nomination. He delivered a finished score, which didn't sit well with the edited film. Because Horner was unavailable, he was working on another film at the time. Cameron had to heavily chop up the score to fit his edit and use music from Goldsmith's Alien score in some places. A deluxe edition soundtrack of Horner's original score has since been released by Varese Sarabande. Michael Biehn, who had enjoyed working with director Cameron on The Terminator, was aware of Cameron's Aliens and had actually been campaigning to play Corporal Hicks, but learned that Cameron had already cast James Remar in the role because he wanted to work with different people so early in his career. Biehn was slightly disappointed but didn't worry about it and focused on other work, until he got a call on a Friday night from producer Gail Ann Hurd asking him to take over from Remar, who had been arrested for drug possession on Friday. Biehn was in London to start filming the following Monday. Cameron and Hurd later said that Biehn brought a humanity to Hicks that they felt was lacking from Remar's performance. Coincidentally, a similar situation had happened to John Hurt when he was cast as Kane in Alien. Hurt was considered for the role but was unavailable, so John Finch was cast. When Finch dropped out due to illness, Hurt, whose schedule had cleared up, was offered the role over the weekend and started filming the next Monday. The pistol used by the Colonial Marines is a Heckler & Koch VP-70. Some of the sound effects for this film were created with help from the Fairlight, an early Australian-made digital sampler, then state-of-the-art Fairlight machine, sampled at 8-bit resolution. Musicians such as Jan Hammer, Kate Bush, and Prince have used it extensively throughout their careers. At around 90 minutes in the extended version, Sentry guns are of the UA-571 model as viewed on their laptop management console. Funny enough, Bill Paxton appeared as Lieutenant Commander Mike Dahlgren in the submarine movie U-571. Oh, that's where that makes sense. Okay, moving on. The space station above Earth is called Gateway, a possible reference to Frederik Pohl's Gateway novels, a sci-fi classic. Four actors from this movie appear in various Terminator movies: Michael Biehn, Lance Henriksen, and Bill Paxton in Terminator, Jeanette Goldstein in Terminator 2. Stephen Lang auditioned for the roles of Carter Burke and Corporal Hicks. Hicks was eventually played by Michael Biehn. Lang would later play the villain Miles Quaritch in Avatar, also directed by Cameron. Par of Cards was originally intended for Michael Biehn, but since Sigourney Weaver had already been cast, they wanted to prevent Avatar from looking like an Aliens reunion. Al Pacino visited the set as he was filming Revolution in the studio next door. The alien screams are baboon shrieks altered in post. Lance Henriksen had previously pledged to quit acting if this part didn't work out for him after years of journeyman roles. It proved to be one of his most successful films. Sigourney Weaver's Best Actress Academy Award nomination for this movie was the first ever for an actress in a role in a sci-fi action movie. Although Jane Alexander had previously been nominated for her role in the apocalyptic drama Testament, and Melinda Dillon was nominated for supporting actress for her role in Close Encounters. The studio was puzzled by Cameron's condition that Gail Ann Hurd be producer on the film, initially thinking that he only wanted her around because they were romantically involved. However, Cameron had also had a long-time creative partnership with Hurd. She had been instrumental in getting the Terminator made. They married during pre-production, and their marriage lasted 4 years. By the time they started work on their next project, The Abyss, they were separated. Okay. Paul Reiser subsequently appeared in Beverly Hills Cop 2 for director Tony Scott, whose brother Ridley Scott had directed the original Alien. Although she doesn't appear herself, Helen Hunt acted with two co-stars of this film, Reiser in Mad About You and Bill Paxton in Twister. Aliens is the only film in the series for which special effects legend Stan Winston did the special effects and won him his first Oscar. He was assisted by his employees Alec Gillis and Tom Woodruff Jr., with Woodruff making a brief and uncredited appearance as one of the salvage team members in the opening scene. For Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection, the special effects torch was handed over to Gillis and Woodruff, who had started their own company, Amalgamated Dynamics Incorporated, by that time, Woodruff playing aliens in both movies. Sigourney Weaver had several notes for Cameron after having read his script, which were mostly about how she felt Ripley should respond to her situations, which he was happy to accommodate. Cameron praised her on her never taking issue with the direction he wanted to take with the story, even with the points they couldn't agree on. One of them was the amount of gun violence. Weaver had initially focused on the script's dialogue rather than stage direction, so when she arrived on set, she told Cameron that she was an advocate for gun control. She was uncomfortable with all of the shooting. Cameron felt this was perfect for Ripley, who is equally reluctant to use a gun unless forced to, and told Weaver to bring that attitude to her performance to a gun range to try and fire an automatic gun, which she had to admit was pretty cool. Oh, and by the way, she's the reason why there's no guns in part 3. At the film's premiere, Paul Reiser's sister physically struck him because his character Burke was so contemptible. The longest of the first 4 Alien films, clocking in at 2 hours and 17 minutes. Even if the special editions of all the films are considered, this record still stands, the longer version of Aliens being 2 hours and 34 minutes. In 2015, it was rumored that Sigourney Weaver would return as Ripley for the first time in 20 years since Alien Resurrection. The 5th film would ignore Alien 3 and Resurrection as if they never happened, such as a dream in Ripley's mind. Or it would be set in an alternate timeline. Neil Blomkamp was attached as director, with Ridley Scott producing. However, in 2017, Blomkamp stated that the project was unofficially dead because the studio had preferred to complete Scott's Alien prequel trilogy, which started with Prometheus. Scott later added that Blomkamp's project had never been more than some ideas and artwork without a completed script. The original planetoid from Alien never got named in that film, although the script referred to it as Archeron. The screenplay of Aliens also used the name Archeron, but refers to Weyland-Yutani's technical name for it, LV-426. In dialogue, LV-426 may refer to the Holy Bible. Leviticus 4:26, God to Moses, he shall burn all the fat on the altar as he burned the fat of the fellowship offering. In his way, the priest will make atonement for the leader's sin, and he will be forgiven. Or Proverbs 4:26, give careful thought to the paths of your feet and be steadfast in all your ways. Also, to commemorate the 30th anniversary edition of Aliens, 20th Century Fox celebrated the first inaugural Alien Day on April 26 or 4/26 in 2016 in reference to the planetoid's name. Bill Paxton continuously apologized to Carrie Henn throughout filming every time Hudson had to swear in front of her. Henn later admitted that she didn't mind, mainly because she really didn't know what any of the words meant. Years later, during cast reunions, Henn had grown up so much that Paxton didn't recognize her at first. Michael Biehn later said that he almost never got to play heroic characters like Hicks, saying that people who look at him must see something wicked in his eyes and assume there's something wrong with him. Coincidence or not, in The Abyss is next one, James Cameron, he was cast as the villain. But is he really? Think about it. All right.
That's for another discussion.
Yeah. There's a lot more. It's all on IMDb Pro. Feel free to look it up. I will read a couple of quick ones here. William Hope, who played Lieutenant Gorman, voiced Dr. Groves in the 2010 video game Aliens vs. Predator, and Marshall Waits in Alien Isolation. Coincidentally, Gorman's incompetence shared traits to Waits' character. He also provided the voice acting for the Predator characters Alien vs. Predator 2 and CR Aliens vs. Predator. He also recorded voice work for T. Shannon in Aliens Colonial Marines, but ultimately the character did not appear in the final game. William Gibson's unproduced draft for Alien 3 features a scene where one of the main characters goes to Gorman's belongings aboard the Sulaco, including a photograph that reveals that Gorman had a wife or girlfriend. One of the pulse rifles used in the film is on display at the Royal Armouries Museum in Leeds, England. Like I said, there's a lot more. We're not going to be able to get them through all of them tonight. Go on IMDb, check out my page there, and we're going to go ahead and close up the scrolls for this evening.
All right. Cool. We have our film for next week. At this time, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom will be next week at its regular time, Action Theater, 2:30 Mountain Pacific Standard Time, 4:30 Eastern. You're welcome, Connie Clary. And I'll have to figure out something for Western cinema. I haven't got that figured out yet.
Okay.
But I'll come up with something.
Yep.
They posted.
All right. As for myself, Even though I do have the link up just in just over an hour, you can join me for our coming attraction, where you find out what I'm going to be doing in the next week, up to and including my appearance Saturday night on Films with Friends, hosted by our friend Big Al Presents.
Doing one of my favorites, the
Yes,
Time Bandits.
Time Bandits.
Terry Gilliam. Terry Gilliam.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like my last name, but not exactly.
Yep.
No relations.
No relation. That'll be that's going to be 10 p.m. Eastern, Saturday night.
Sean Connery plays the king.
Mm-hmm.
Agamemnon.
Mm-hmm.
Which is from the Agamemnon was in the Odyssey and Helen of Troy. Two different characters.
Yes.
I definitely liked Sean Connery's portrayal of Agamemnon in Time Bandits. Wasn't such a hateful, spiteful king in his portrayal of Agamemnon in the Time Bandits. He also has a short role as a fire brigade personnel in
Yes.
that same film.
Ever thought of doing Brazil?
I've
I've never actually seen it, so I'm down for it. But that's up to Bill. I also know there are like two different versions of that film as well, so we'd have to decide which one would be the best to do.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever watched that all the way through. To be honest, it was just too out there. I tried, several times, but like
it is, yeah.
Couldn't get into it because of the bizarreness of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. I'm glad it worked.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. I will find something between now and then for Western Cinema Presents. Or maybe we'll just take a break this week. I don't know. I'll search but stay posted. Thank you all for coming. We really, really appreciate you guys, and thank you all for being here. As I always say, be excellent to one another, party on, and we'll see you at the next one.
All right. As for myself, I would like to thank everyone who joined us here, both in the live chats here on YouTube, StreamYard, and Cosme. And I know that at least at one point during the show, we did have over 100 people watching. So thank you all very much. And for those of you who are first timers, I know there were a couple in the chat. I hope that you enjoyed the show, enjoyed the film. And as I always say at the end of every broadcast from HQ, and all points north, south, east, west, and beyond, good night. Take care. Stay strong. Be safe and healthy. Stay frosty, because this is how we win.